Hi, my name's Gemma and I'm a senior staff nurse in MIA PCN. A typical day for me is basically I start the day, we log on as senior staff nurses, as generally all nurses do. We look at the visits ahead for today, we look on our system and we see what the patient's visit requires, and in your head already you're thinking this patient needs this referral or etc. And sometimes we can go to visits and we'll get stuck, so we'll link in with other services such as the Chris team, the GP, Dougie Mac, and then from there we can come back to base and do any incident reports, referrals we may need. We use the tablets after the visits and we write up the notes, which is it's a new thing we've kind of started over the last probably 12 months, but it's great for when you're in a visit you can write exactly what you've done rather than coming back and you're thinking, what did I say? Well, it's fresh in your mind, so it's a lot easier to do it like that. So that's a typical day for me. I think for me that although you're on a time scale of visits, you can spend as much time as you feel is required in that patient's house, and I feel you can provide really person-centred care to that patient because they're in their own home, especially end of life. It just feels that little bit more person-centred. For me personally, if I was end of life, I'd love to be at home in my own comfort. And you can provide that in a hospital setting, you know, with pictures, etc. But just that little bit extra of their own home, that makes it a bit more, for me, a privilege and more person-centred. You feel, as cliche as it sounds, that you become part of their little family bubble. You get to know all about what the grandchild's doing at uni, etc. So for me, I feel that you're really part of that patient's care and the journey being in the community. Previously, we did 8:45 till 5 days a week. Some people didn't, but that was my rostered timing. It came about from a questionnaire at first, from what I can remember. It was kind of people's views, were they into it, were they not? And I think a lot of people, when you train as a nurse, you do that many different shifts, that really a lot of people are like, yeah, we don't mind doing that. And I think from going from 5 days to 4, it was like, yeah, that won't have so much of an impact. I was working before 8:45 and after 5, so I was like, well, I'm already doing it anyway, so that's fine. And then from the questionnaire, it was kind of piloted for a month. So if I remember rightly, it was piloted last year from, I want to say mid-November to December. So then it was kind of said, well, it's going to finish, and everybody was like, no, we really don't want it to finish, we want it to carry on. We don't want to go back to that type of working life prior to this, so it carried on, and I've never gone back to 8:45 since. I just know 8 till 6 now, 4 days a week, and that was it. And I think if people still, now when they join the trust, it's a choice of do you want to do 8:6 or 8:45 till 5. I was spending a lot of time at home out of my contracted work hours on my laptop, catching up on admin, catching up on referrals, everything you name it, I was doing it outside of work hours. I could still see family, I could still see friends, but I felt like when I went out, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I need to do that Rio, I need to do this, I need to do that. So it was constantly on my mind. A day off was never a day off because I was worrying about how much I needed to catch up on. I always felt like I was at work, and my partner would always be like, you're always on that laptop, you're always on your phone. Looking back now, I probably didn't realise the effect that has on somebody that's watching that. And my mum would say the same, that you're constantly on your phone, you're constantly catching up, you need to have a day off. So now it's to kind of do a 365, it's basically, I've just got a better work-life balance, my days off and my days off. I feel I come into work and I'm like, well, I'm on till 6, I've got that bit of extra time, but I haven't got that ticking time to be like, oh no, you finish at 5. For me, I get as much as I can do, and I actually found that I've got more work done working the long days. I can really advocate to say I have a better work-life balance, definitely. And my mum and my partner have said the same. I feel like when I'm off, I'm more relaxed and I'm off work, which is what you should be. You should be resting and recharging, not on your laptop. Whereas now I actually enjoy probably my work more because it's not taking centre stage in my life. It's actually shared 50-50 between my personal life and my work life. I think obviously allocating work, for me, I think a worry that we had was because a lot of our team went on the long days, because they were all dropping that one day, it's a worry of were we going to be short-staffed on that day or a week really, because obviously not everybody has the same day off. Obviously some weeks are short, and I think you find because people have got annual leave, you potentially are that little bit shorter now because people are working less days but the same hours. It doesn't really affect the work because we're still rescheduling what we did prior to the long days commencing. Basically you adapt a bit more and you say, well, this day's good, so we'll move off tomorrow onto the day that's good from the day that's bad. For me, I haven't heard any other negatives, and I don't feel any other negatives towards it, definitely. Yeah, 100%. For me, it's changed my attitude to work. I've got a better work-life balance. My mental health's probably a lot better because I'm not constantly anxious about work, and I'm not spending all my days off working. I can spend time on me, and you naturally feel better. I think if it fits into your family life, which it did for me, because my partner works 9-5, so for me it was fine rather than doing other shifts. But going from 9-5 to my partner working 9-5, I wasn't changing it dramatically that I wouldn't have that family life. If it works well in your family life, then yeah, definitely do it. I think from what I've gathered as well, that people that have been doing the long shifts tend to want to pick up an extra shift because they're feeling that a lot more rest and recharged on the days off, so they think, actually, I'll pick up an extra shift, which is beneficial for them because they can get that more overtime in for them. But for us as a service, we've got more staff on that day. So I've found going into winter pressure alongside the financial of Christmas, a lot of people have picked up a lot of extra shifts, and it's a lot of people that are doing the long days because they've got that extra day off. So prior to that, they were only getting 2 days off. So they say they pick up an extra, and it's just like what they were on before, but they've picked up that extra shift.